It wasn't me, either. Celestial Maiden Mo was the first one to have discovered fellow Taoist you, and she was worried that you could be in seclusion, so she sent me a message asking me to go look for you, Duan Yuzai explained. With all of this recent unrest, I was planning to meditate for a while, but I was unable to enter a tranquil state. So I came here in the morning, and I discovered him laying in the snow. At the time, I thought he was already dead. Mo Wushui sighed. Han Li didn't say anything further upon hearing this. He rested the palm of his hand down onto Yuzuki's glabella to conduct a further examination, then rose to his feet with a perplexed look in his eyes, wondering exactly who it was that had sealed his consciousness. How is he right now, fellow Taoist Li? Mo Wushui asked. His body and soul have been stabilized for now, but he's still not out of the woods yet. Take him back to my cave abode. I'm going to need to administer extensive treatment to him before he can truly be saved, Han Li said. Thank you, fellow Daoist Li, Mo Wushui said in an earnest manner. Han Li's gaze roamed back and forth between Mo Wushui and Yuzichi for a moment, and it occurred to him that this near-death experience may have just been a blessing for Yuziki. With that in mind, Han Li swept a sleeve through the air, releasing a burst of azure light hat, picked up Yuzichi before carrying him back to his cave abode. Close to a month later, Taoist Master Jingyang had only just returned to the valley when he received a message from Han Li, and by the time he arrived at Han Li's cave abode, Immortal Lord Hot Flame and the others were already gathered there. Just like Mo Guang, Taoist Xie had also been deposited in the Flower Branch domain, so there were only some puppets and Tao warriors left in the cave abode, and Yuziki was staying in the room previously occupied by Mo Guang. Following this period of recovery, his aura had stabilized a little, but he still wasn't showing any signs of waking up as the spiritual damage that he had sustained was extremely severe. Immortal Lord Hot Flame and Taoist Master Jingyang were always bickering with each other, but in a rare display of camaraderie, both of them united to declare that they were going to find the perpetrator and give them a taste of their own medicine. I told all of you that there was going to be some unrest, but I didn't think that things would become so bad so quickly, Taoist Master Jingyang sighed. Do you know something that we don't, fellow Taoist Jingyang? Mo Wushui asked with slightly furrowed brows. The information that I have access to aren't exactly secrets. As long as you're willing to spend some Immortal Origins stones, you can purchase this information from Jade Gathering City, Taoist Master Jingyang replied. None of us have been to Jade Gathering City for some time now, so we'll be relying on you to relay this information to us, fellow Taoist Jingyang, Han Li said. Hurry up and spit it out, Immortal Lord Hot Flame urged. I'm sure all of you have heard about the Silver Fox incident. After the incident, some other things happened, and there's a chance that the Palace Master of the Black Mountain Immortal Palace used this as an excuse to join forces with the Immortal Envoy stationed in Jade Gathering City, exerting pressure upon the itinerant cultivator who established the rules of Relaxation Mountain so that he would allow Immortal Palace cultivators to access and search the mountain range as they please, Taoist Master Jingyang revealed. So you're saying that the perpetrator in this case could be someone from the Black Mountain Immortal Palace? Immortal Lord Hot Flame asked with tightly furrowed brows. I said no such thing. All I'm saying is that the Black Mountain Immortal Palace has sent people into Relaxation Mountain to ruin the peace here. In all honesty, there are even more people from the Robe Change Order in the mountain range, and neither of those organizations are to be messed with, Taoist Master Jingyang said. It's not like members of the Reincarnation Palace have only recently infiltrated the valley, but none of them have ever disturbed the peace. If you ask me, I still think the Immortal Palace cultivators are to blame, Duan Yuzai said. Just like the Ubiquitous Pavilion and the Transient Guild, the Robe Change Order was also a far-reaching subsidiary power of the Reincarnation Palace. Could it be that fellow Taoist Yu is a member of the Reincarnation Palace? Han Li asked. Immortal Lord Hot Flame and Duan Yuzai turned to Taoist Master Jingyang and Mo Wushui upon hearing this. One of them was Yuzuki's closest friend in the valley, while the other was Yuzuki's romantic interest, but neither of them seemed to know the answer to that question. There's no point in making all this empty speculation. Let's ask fellow Taoist Yu when he wakes up, Mo Wuxue said. In any case, all of us have to be more careful from now on, Taoist Master Jingyang said. After everyone departed, Han Li began to feel more and more uneasy, and he no longer felt like this was a safe place to stay. However, if he were to leave the Leisure Valley at a time like this, he would most likely only be attracting the attention of the Immortal Palace cultivators, so he would just have to stay put and wait for now. On top of that, he also had to stay with Yu Ziqi for a long time to administer his treatment. After some contemplation, he began working on removing the restriction on Yu Ziqi's nascent soul. Over 5 years passed by in a flash. One morning, Han Li was seated in his secret chamber, holding his heaven-controlling vial in one hand and the profound heavenly gourd in the other. He opened the heaven-controlling vial before tipping a drop of green spirit liquid onto the mouth of the gourd. Over the years, the mouth of the gourd had been steadily nourished by the green liquid, to the point that it was almost completely blending in with the rest of the gourd. But Han Li still felt like it wasn't fully mature yet. A pleasant sound rang out from the gourd, and the drop of green spirit liquid was instantly absorbed by it. Immediately thereafter, the gourd began to radiate incredibly bright green light, and all of the countless Garen runes on its surface began to flash incessantly. At the same time, an unfathomable burst of law power fluctuations surged through the surrounding area, and a faint pop rang out from the mouth of the gourd. To Han Li's surprise, the gourd had opened on its own without any outside force. Does this mean it's completely matured? Before Han Li had a chance to draw any conclusions, a burst of green light shot out of the mouth of the gourd, transforming into a green flame that enveloped the entire gourd while keeping it suspended in mid-air. Sometime later, the flame began to shrink before finally vanishing altogether, and the gourd was left looking as if it had been reborn anew. It had become entirely as translucent as jade, and it had a warm and smooth tactile sensation to the touch. A hint of elation welled up in Han Li's heart upon seeing this, and he was just about to conduct a closer examination when a burst of burning pain suddenly arose in one of his arms. He hurriedly pulled up his sleeve and looked down to discover that a faint green sword mark had appeared on his arm, and it was none other than the profound heavenly spirit/sword that had already been missing for many years. Immediately thereafter, he felt all of the blood in his arm converging toward the sword mark, and as a result, the previously indistinct sword mark was gradually becoming clearer and clearer. Is the profound heavenly spirit/sword about to return? Han Li was ecstatic to see this. Even though the profound heavenly spirit/sword was a treasure from a lower realm, it was still a profound heavenly treasure that encompassed the law powers of an entire realm, making it equivalent to an essential immortal treasure in the true immortal realm, so it had to be harboring many secrets that had remained hidden to him up to this point. Right at this moment, the pain in his arm intensified even further, and the green sword mark suddenly tore through his skin as a streak of green light, then instantly flew into the gourd through its mouth. Han Li was very startled by this turn of events, and he immediately grabbed onto the gourd before injecting his spiritual sense into it. The green vortex within the internal space of the gourd was still slowly revolving as usual, and the 72 azure bamboo cloud swarm swords were hovering peacefully within the vortex, giving off a faint azure glow. After searching through this space, Han Li was unable to find the profound heavenly spirit/sword, so he extended his spiritual sense further into the second space within the gourd. As soon as he did this, he was immediately struck by a sense of disorientation, and he felt as if there were bursts of green light flashing incessantly in front of his eyes. He focused his gaze directly forward to find the green ball hovering within this space, and it was currently fluctuating in brightness while releasing a series of green halos that were giving off peculiar energy fluctuations. A green sword-shaped mark had appeared on the ball, and it was none other than the mark of the profound heavenly spirit/sword. As he attempted to extend his spiritual sense toward the sword mark, the latter instantly released a burst of green light that exploded to shatter the spiritual sense being extended toward it. Han Li immediately gave a muffled groan as his eyes sprang open and he was gasping for air. His head was ringing incessantly while throbbing with agony, and he hurriedly closed his eyes to recuperate. A long while later, his complexion had largely returned to normal, and he opened his eyes as he massaged his own throbbing glabella with a contemplative expression. He didn't know how it had happened, but it appeared that the profound heavenly spirit/sword had fused as one with the gourd. Instead of a resurrection for the profound heavenly spirit/sword, it seemed that the destructive law powers within it had been sucked into the gourd, and he couldn't help but wonder if this would somehow alter the gourd's properties and abilities.